Hey guys, this is the Real Estate Podcast and it's your host, Alex Kaufman. Now, before we dive into today's episode, I need you to do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button on your phone if you haven't done so already and share this episode with just one person. It's going to help us get this information out to more people to learn about entrepreneurship and real estate. Thanks. Now let's dive into today's episode.
Like, I'm serious about it, but I'm not necessarily looking to get out of my job. I love my job, but I've got maybe 8 to 10 hours a week to spend on real estate with all my other commitments and family and things like that. So I have to maximize the efficiency of those 10 hours. And if I'm doing it on my own and just aimed nowhere, that doesn't end well. But when we can focus our efforts and focus that time, that'll go a lot further than just trying to get there on your own. So
that's right.
Join the community.
All right, welcome to the Real Estate Podcast. Today we have a special guest, the first entrepreneur community member, Eric Busker. Eric has a really cool story. He actually has known Matt and Matt's family for a while, and I think that's how we kind of got connected. And so excited to bring Eric in today. He's a real estate investor, and he has goals of achieving passive income through real estate investing. Just closed on a property yesterday. So this is going to be a good episode for those to hear from a perspective of someone who's not, beginning their real estate journey, but has begun it and is, right in the middle of it and at the early stages of accomplishing their goals. So thank you for joining today, Eric.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I was honored that you asked me. You didn't tell me I had to follow Miss Kim, though.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that was an exciting story.
Yeah. What'd you think about it?
Oh, it was incredible to hear. I mean, inspirational, motivating. If, like she said multiple times, I was able to do it. If I can, anyone can. And so it helps to give me confidence that you'll get there. Slow and steady wins the race. So
yeah, well, and you're getting there right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell I don't know your full story, but if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you come from, where you grew up.
Right. Yeah, so born and raised in Corpus Christi, Texas. Had a really good childhood. Grew up there my whole life. Myself and my two younger brothers. Had really good parents, good family environment. Just
two younger brothers?
Yeah, two younger brothers. Yep. The middle one is also kind of a real estate investor as well. I think he's got a house in Corpus and maybe 2 in Houston. So he's kind of working on scaling as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed everything growing up. Went to college at A&M Kingsville, got my engineering degree there, and met my wife Jackie there as well. She was in pharmacy school in Kingsville as well at that same time, so met her, and she's from Austin, so she kind of convinced me to come back up to Austin when we both graduated and start life up here. So I've been up here since 2011 and got 2 kids now and loving life up here.
All right. Can we talk about engineering for a second?
Shoot.
So you have your civil engineering degree, correct?
Yep.
Talk to me about, what do you do? What is that? What do you enjoy about it? Why did you decide to go civil engineering?
Yeah, so I didn't decide till I think after my freshman year of college. Just didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't a great high school student or even a great college student. It really wasn't until I met my wife that I started to take school a little more seriously. She takes credit for that too, but she should. But I like problem solving. So what I do is I design highways. I tend to do projects that are like 2 to 10 years away from starting construction because it just takes that long. But I like just getting to figure out what's going to solve the traffic problem. And if anybody is around Central Texas, there's a little bit of a traffic problem. So I got my work cut out for me, but I love it. I'm not looking to get into real estate investing so that I can quit my job one day. I want to work till I'm 65 or older. And I'm very lucky to get to say that not a lot of people can say that they go to work every day and look forward to it. So I'm grateful for that. But yeah, it's tough, it's demanding, but I love it, and a lot of work to be done in Central Texas.
And so a lot of the engineering work you do is for TxDOT?
Yeah, TxDOT or the local governments like Williamson County, Travis, Hayes, City of Round Rock, City of Austin. Everybody needs help right now.
Walk me through it, because my mom, right?
Yeah.
My mom is a civil engineer as well.
Yep.
And she's always come home with, these big blueprints and everything my whole life.
Yeah.
And I'm interested, so like when you say you're solving the traffic problem and you're doing, projects that are 10 years prior to construction starts.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens? Someone the city, contacts your company, or the TxDOT contacts your company and said, hey, we're looking to build a road from here to here. And they say, all right, you guys figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways it can go. For example, some projects, I'm working on a project right now in the Taylor area that's facilitated by Samsung. Or really, Samsung was kind of the catalyst to that project needs because, Taylor's about to explode, and they're not ready for it from an infrastructure perspective. So from their perspective, they're like, we don't even know where to start with all this growth that we're about to experience. So we know we have, 973 that goes into Taylor. We got 79. So we know we need to expand those, but what else needs to happen? And you tell us, you're the expert. So we'll kind of just map out a grid of, okay, we need some east-west roads, some north-south. Where are these going to go? What properties are in the way that might impact where you got to go? And so it's definitely a challenge. We've had to sit across property owners. I probably had over 100 meetings where you're telling them, hey, you see the growth in the area, but in order to widen the road, I have to come through your property or whatever, and you try to work with them. And so those can be sensitive conversations, obviously, but more often than not, they get it, and they've been here for 20 years, and they're like, yeah, I don't even want to be here anymore. It's changing so much, and my property value is, 20x what it was when they bought it. And so, they're sensitive conversations, but people generally understand the growth and the need for infrastructure improvements in the area.
Well, but how are y'all solving that problem? Is there some sort of, I don't know, standard that y'all operate from, or you have to solely guess the population growth out of the population growth?
Yeah, no, so there are these very complex models that look at demographics, growth, traffic, who's coming, what are they driving, or are they driving? If they're going to downtown, they might be more walking, things like that. But it kind of projects where the growth is going to happen, and it's very coordinated, so it's not just one entity developing that model, but they coordinate with all the local governments and say, okay, what are your plans? Are you wanting to bring in more multifamily? So there's some cities around here that tend to try to avoid like building apartments because they think that, well, it may attract some certain type of clientele that we don't want. It's like, okay, well then where are all the people that work at your restaurants going to live? Because they can't afford a $400,000 house if they're lucky in this area. And so anyway, they look at this overall demographics of the region and say, okay, if I'm estimating 50,000 cars a day on this road by 2045 or whatever it is, then I need to start preserving that footprint now. So generally that may equate to a 6-lane roadway. And so it's just simple math really when you start looking at how many lanes or how many cars can a lane carry, how many lanes do I need, and then what can I actually build. If there's apartment complexes up and down the existing roadway, it's like, I'm not widening that road, which is why you end up like a lot of Austin, Lamar, Burnett, those aren't going to get any better because there's too much improvements.
Existing.
Yeah. So, but roads out to Taylor or Hutto or areas like that, you still have a chance to get out in front of that development. So, yeah.
Well, that's cool.
It's a lot of fun.
I find it very interesting.
Good. Not a lot of people do, so I'm glad you do.
I enjoy solving problems myself, and
Yeah.
I think that it's obviously something that is very much needed. Also, as a real estate investor, you're privy to a lot of future development that
Right.
others might not know about until 10 years later.
Right.
So I'm sure that that's helpful as well.
Yeah, just be able to see trends. And, we were talking about luling the other day, right? And it's like, wait, you telling me luling is next? And
Well, I just saw you smile on the call. I was like, oh, Eric knows something.
yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I-10, 130 all connect to it. It's happening.
All right.
It's fun.
So, real estate investing. So, why real estate investing? What got you interested in real estate?
A lot of things kind of nudged me a little more, and eventually I said, okay, maybe I should follow through with this. My father-in-law, he always, we would always talk the market, stocks, things like that. And he would always say, yeah, cool, but man, if I could go back, I would have done real estate, you got to think about real estate. And I kind of just brushed it off and was kind of like, it's a lot of work. I don't want to do all that research, finding a house, managing tenants. I'm not really interested in that. And so that was one kind of driver in the back of your mind. The other one, earlier in our marriage, we were really good about saving, putting a lot of money away. We didn't have kids for, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so. So we're really aggressive, both my wife and I. And so I was like, throw a bunch of money in there, S&P 500, let it ride till I get to 65. And, I'm an engineer, right? So I had a spreadsheet. And after about 5 years, okay, let's extrapolate that trend line. And where is that after 65? Okay, it's a pretty good number. And let's divide that by 20 years I might live. Let's divide that by 12 months. Take off a little bit for taxes. It's like, that's barely what I'm making now. And it's like, okay, I'm going to work 40 years, bless my butt, for, hopefully I don't get sick when I retire and then really start to eat into that income. And so that realization was like, okay, maybe I got to start looking at some other options because, we had healthy salaries and, save pretty aggressively. And it's like, after all that work, that gets me there. And so,
so you engineered your way out of the S&P 500.
Imagine that, yeah. Still in it somewhat, but, just diversifying a little bit. But yeah, so that's what eventually was like, okay, maybe I need to look into this a little more. And my brother started doing it, and, he's had successes and challenges as well, but he's kind of been a good resource as well. So
have you engineered your returns from the real estate perspective?
I've tried to. There's a lot of numbers that go into it if you hadn't heard, but yeah, I'm working on it slowly but surely. Yeah.
What have you projected by the time you retire if you continue to buy real estate?
Well, I haven't done that projection because there's
a lot of factors that go
into it.
There
is, and I tend to think in like 3 to 5 year increments because you don't know what's going to happen down the line, or I could hit my head walking out of here today and all of a sudden I can't work as an engineer anymore. So
right.
I can think about those goals, but basically I think, okay, right now my very short-term goal is to get to $2,000 a month in passive income in the next 12 months or so. So I think in very short-term goals, just so I can stay focused. If I, start talking about, I want to do single-family, multifamily in short terms, and it's like, okay, you can get like a squirrel, but it's like, okay, focus on one thing at a time. And so that's my short-term goal right now, and we'll see what happens after that.
I agree. I mean, you just need to knock out the next step to get you there. And by you can map out 30 years from now, but like you said, in 2 years it may change. You may I want to do something completely different, storage units or whatever it might be.
Yeah, exactly.
So you did you know much about real estate investing at the time? Like, obviously the benefits from leverage to tax benefits to the passive income to appreciation.
Yeah, I did. Before I really started getting serious about it, I never ran numbers, what's the 1% rule, things like that. I just kind of knew there's a lot of financial benefits to it, the passive aspect of it as well, obviously. But no, I really hadn't put pencil to paper before I started to really get serious about it. And when I finally did get serious about it, read a few books, listened to tons of podcasts, watched videos. But I don't know. We'll talk about the community here eventually. But about a year ago, so right now my portfolio is I have 2 short-term rental houses in San Antonio, both in the downtown San Antonio area. We picked San Antonio because, one, it's more affordable than Austin. We actually love going to San Antonio as a family. Lots to do with the kids. My parents being in Corpus, it's a nice halfway point for us to meet up on a weekend or whatever. But the goal wasn't initially STRs. It was just get into real estate. And so, I'm sitting on Zillow looking at houses for $240,000 or whatever it is. And it's like, I can't make any of these numbers work as a long term. And I guess I'll try short term. And I didn't want to just give up because I couldn't make the numbers work. I wanted to get in the game, so to speak. So it's okay, let's pull the trigger on an STR. And there's a lot that's in your control as a manager and as a host. So we thought we'd give it a shot, and we bought one. I guess it was like in March 2022.
What'd you buy it for?
First one was $440,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And we did the 10% second home loan, and that was part of it. So obviously your mortgage is higher.
When'd you buy it?
March of 22. So first one was in March, second one was in April, when the market was about the highest point it could possibly be. So
what's your interest rate on that one?
That one is 4%.
Okay, so not horrible.
Right. Yep. The second one I bought for $400. Same with a 10% vacation home loan. I think that one's at 5.25.
Okay.
So, and that one was in May. So yeah, we buy the one in March, and like within 3 days we got 5 or 6 bookings. And
Well, for 440, it was a good condition. Like
yeah,
these
it
are-
was already flipped, and so I bought kind of post rehab, and it looked great, and it still does, and it's got a detached casita in the back, and we've actually converted that to a game room. So like we go to work on it on a Sunday or whatever, and the kids go straight to the game room, and got a ping pong table in there, and whatever, what's it called, foosball, things like that, just stuff for kids to go, and they spend hours in there and have a great time. So it's a fun place to be, and both houses have great reviews, like over 4.9 stars. Jackie, my wife, is the main communicator with the guests, and she does great at that, and everybody compliments how great she's doing. And but it's it's always something. It's most of our stays are Friday to Sunday, so every Friday you get off work, and a long week, whatever, and then hey, we're checking in, what's the Wi-Fi password, and where's this, and toilet's not flushing right. It's like, so now I gotta call somebody on a Friday at 6 o'clock. Yeah, let me try to get a plumber out tonight or tomorrow. And so they don't talk about that part in all the podcasts and the influencers talk about how much cash flow they're making off of STRs, but we figured it out.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, let's talk about those two. So you've had those for a little over a year now.
Yep.
And it was foundation issues with one of them or two of them?
One.
All right. So just talk us through the first investment properties that you bought. So I guess for those out there, you put 10% down on each. So you did have a good, healthy savings to apply towards purchasing these.
Right.
Why'd you choose these?
Because they were good. Both of them are 4-bedroom houses. So I wanted something that like families, multiple families could stay in together. So like I said, me, my kids, my parents, my brother and his kids, things like that. San Antonio's always got something going on. We love it. It's growing, and I couldn't afford a house in downtown Austin a year ago, or even now, right? But a year ago I could afford some stuff in San Antonio, so that's what really led us into San Antonio.
When you say downtown, this is how far away from the Riverwalk?
Each of them are about a mile. One is east of the Riverwalk, the other one is kind of in the Southtown Lone Star district area, but a lot of good walkable entertainment options. And so great locations, decent neighborhoods. A lot of downtown San Antonio is a little older, but it reminds me almost of East Austin 5-10 years ago when you started to see a lot of houses being flipped, and I don't know if they'll see the high rises that East Austin has seen, but it seems like there's some investment and attention being paid to downtown San Antonio for sure.
Yeah, so good locations, 4 bedrooms.
Yep. Good houses. Both of them had just been rehabbed, and so kind of bought the post flip. But again, it was the peak of the market, and because I'll call it my limited beliefs or limited understanding of all the avenues out there and really making long-term rentals work, I thought, well, I guess I got to go short-term. And obviously it's more expensive, but maybe I can make better returns. And that was, I guess, 2020 and 2021 were like banner years for Airbnbs, right? Demand was just through the roof, supply was low. Well, everybody else made that same observation, and now supply has gone through the roof and demand has slowed down a lot. I mean, last summer we were charging $350 to $500 a night on weekends in the summer. This summer we're $250, maybe $300 a night, just to get bookings, because you get on and look at what your competitors and your neighbors are charging. It's like, I have a great house, but they're not going to pay double what they're going to pay for my neighbor's house just because I have a game room or whatever. So, yeah.
So how have they performed over the last year?
I have not had positive cash flow. The foundation, I guess, putting the foundation issue aside, still not positive cash flow because there's a lot of expenses too. So you have your hotel occupancy tax, that's 9%. It's a big chunk, and we're self-managing.
Off the top.
Yeah. So right away, you pay all the utilities. What do you do when you get to an Airbnb? You turn the air down to 66, right? It's like, it's not my AC. It's crank that thing down. So electricity runs all the time, especially in the summer. You take a little longer shower, things like that. It's not your house. And so
Furnishings was another
bills,
expense.
furnishings, the repairs. It's always something, and we haven't had like a major nightmare guest that just destroyed the house. A couple of not great experiences, but nothing that we couldn't recover from overnight. So, been fortunate to have generally good guests. But
do you know how far negative cash flow it was, not considering foundation?
I haven't surprisingly run the exact numbers, probably because I don't want to know. I'm probably negative $5,000 to $10,000 in a year
Total for both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the expenses and we've done some things.
And you're self-managing.
Right. Yeah.
If you had a manager, it'd be.
I know. Yeah. And we talk a lot about the purchase price, right? Like if I would have bought that thing for $200, well, now all of a sudden that's a totally different investment than buying a house. I'm just looking on Zillow thinking, well, here's the listings. Had no network, no connections. Didn't bother to ask anybody. Just
let's talk about that a little bit. So like you, what books had you read prior to where'd your knowledge come from on this?
Yeah, pretty simply the podcasts.
What was your favorite podcast?
I listened to the Bigger Pockets ones.
The
There's
Real
another
Estate
one.
Podcast?
At the time, no. That's why I ended up with these bad investments.
Yeah.
See, now I'm making better decisions. What was the other one? There's one, Avery Carl is her name. I forget the name of the, I think it's the short-term shop, something like that. So they specialize in short terms.
Got it.
And to me, most of their guests just talk about how, the podcast guests talk about how great they're doing. And maybe I wasn't listening, or maybe they didn't mention all just the challenges and the work that goes into it. But again, I think overall, it's just a supply-demand thing, and the supply has just gone so far up that no matter how great of a house you have, how great of a manager you are, it's in this market, it's tough to make cash flow, especially purchasing the way I did and things like that. So learned a lot.
What books did you read?
What?
Did you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No, I never read that one. Done the 4-Hour Work Week, which isn't necessarily real estate.
But you could, if you could set up the Airbnb, the 4-Hour Work Week way.
Yeah. If I can make it profitable first. Learned some from that, but it was.
Well, hey, good for you, right? A lot of people do the other way. They study and get knowledge for 10 years without taking a single step of action. So. Yeah. You learned more. I'm willing to bet you learned more in the last year taking action and just diving in and trying to make something work than you ever would have from a podcast or a book or.
Yep. Yeah. And, once I couldn't make the numbers work on the long-term rentals, I was like, okay, but I don't want that to stop me. Like, I just want to try and get out of the stands and into the court. Let's just try. And if we fail, we're young. There's still a path towards retirement, and let's just give it a shot. So,
good for you. Like I said, that's more than 75% of people do. Yeah. Who have this dream and this goal. So, I would say that this, even though it's not doing great right now, and maybe wasn't the best investment at the time for a lot of different factors. Yeah. Out of your control. But I think that it's well worth it that you got in there, you started playing, and now you'll never make those mistakes again, right?
Right. Yep.
Learned a lot. You do have 2 good properties.
Yeah.
And it's only up from here.
Exactly.
And you didn't, even though it wasn't cash flow, even though it wasn't cash flow positive, you were losing some money on it. You did have a big expense come up.
Yeah.
I think another thing to take away from it is that your life didn't end.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are in fear about taking action and experiencing what you experienced, in the sense that, everything's going to fall apart. I'm going to lose everything, but you're still making it work.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely try to keep that perspective. It's, these are pretty good sized cracks in the house with the foundation issues, and we get discouraged. It's like, oh, this is so frustrating. But I have to remember, these are cracks in a wall in a house that I don't live in. They're bigger. If that's my biggest problem right now, I'll take that 100 times out of 100. There are way worse problems out there, and this is just a bad investment. It's as simple as that, and that's okay. We can still live a happy life. So
turn it around. You come back from it.
Yeah.
So you still have them as Airbnbs right now?
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking into like some midterm options. Furnish finders out there, stay wise. There's other midterm options. Again, just to make cash. So like, my mortgages on each of those are, one's $3,000, the other one's $3,500 a month. It's hard to make cash flow on that, even as a midterm rental.
That's PITA?
Yeah. And so, not accounting, occupancy tax, utilities, all that. And so,
right.
If I would love to be able to break even till next summer, and maybe I can sell them at a pretty good rate, assuming maybe interest rates have gone down. If I get to where I just can't break even, maybe I would sell to maybe some kind of owner finance option, like a pretty good interest rates on it. So I've talked to Robert from the community about it, and we're just kind of keeping tabs on each other, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, good. And I mean, so your plan is to exit from these?
Yeah. As soon as it makes sense financially. I'd be okay exiting at break even since last year and kind of call it a lesson learned, and we keep moving forward. I would love to have that capital back, but I don't right now. So it's at that purchase price, you just can't make hardly any numbers work unless it's an Airbnb in a high demand market, which right now it's not. So
right, and it's okay to even if you didn't exactly break even, maybe you lost a little bit, and in the long run you might consider and lost cash flow and stuff. But I mean, losing $5-10K overall is not the end of the world if it makes sense to get rid of the non-performing asset and go reinvest all that money into another one, right?
Yeah.
Because not only by holding on are we losing money now, but we're also missing out on all the opportunity from having the money elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just financial resources, it's the mental resources, because every morning I get on and I check prices and optimize, to try to make sure that we're booked solid. And okay, does the cleaner know they got to be there at this time, and get the guest check-in code set up? And so that's all mental energy that you're expending that, I could be spending that time somewhere else on a better performing asset. So it doesn't just take up your financial resources, also just your time. So
yeah. Well, it's something that we learned as well over this last year. We did not expect the market to change the way that it did as fast as it did. And we bought some flips that we shouldn't have bought. And at the time when we bought those flips, man, they were really, really good prices. Like 40% of the ARV at the time.
Yeah.
And then market changed, sat on the market for months and months and months, when previously we were offloading flips like that.
Right.
And we probably lost a little bit of money on both of those flips that we did last year.
Right.
That ended up selling this year.
Wow.
But I mean, and we also sold some properties that weren't performing well, that had negative cash flow. So we learned a lot of lessons as well, and it's not a bad thing to, as a real estate investor, this probably won't be your first time if you continue to buy real estate. Where something bad happens that's unexpected, and you just got to solve the problem, roll with the punches, and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I'm determined to move on and keep trying to find ways to make it work. You haven't failed, you just found ways that don't work, and so we'll keep trying. So
what for everybody listening and just for yourself, what are some of the biggest lessons you learned from those two?
Purchase price is the biggest driver of the way your investment's going to perform.
Because
it's so much of it plays so much of a role in your cash flow, and that's a fixed price, and I'm stuck with that no matter how great of a property manager I am. No matter how great the property is, that's fixed no matter what, and so there's no getting around that. So
yeah, so just that being, you didn't consider purchase price that important when you bought them?
No, I did, but I went to AirDNA. I think it projected it bringing in about $60,000 a year.
Each?
Yeah, each. And so I think my 12-month revenue was more like in the 40s. I think one was in the 40s, one was in the 30s. So not quite what AirDNA anticipated. And that's really all you have to go off of in STRs, right? There's no, you can look, there's the enemy method is what they call it, where you get onto Airbnb and you say, okay, if I want to buy a 4-bedroom house in downtown San Antonio, let's get on Airbnb, put those factors in, and I'm going to look at their calendars and see how booked they are, and that can give me an idea of the demand, which it does, but when everybody else is doing the same thing and supply just keeps going up, well, then that's out of your control, but it's a lesson learned.
Hey, this is Alex, and I'm the co-owner of TRE. Since the beginning of time, real estate has created more millionaires than any other investment, and I want to get you involved in a community that will help you achieve your goals within real estate investing. I know you don't have the knowledge, connections, or resources to start investing today. Most people spin their wheels over and over and over without ever actually taking any action to successfully start investing. That's why I want to get you involved in our community so that you can get the hands-on support, training, and meet the other members that you can start doing deals with in order to start investing in real estate. You need to get in the room with the right people who can help you achieve your goals and get the hands-on support and one-on-one training that you need in order to start investing. Just click on the link in the description to join the entrepreneur community today.
So, I'm a believer in Corpus, and, it's obviously got a lower entry price, lower purchase price on the homes down there. So the house that I just closed on, our purchase price was $60,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It needs about $15,000 worth of work. So, we'll get ready to start that rehab, and, having my parents down there to kind of help be the boots on the ground if needed, and whatever. There's a lot more resources and connections in Corpus, and so I'm excited about that. And if it works, great. But there's a chance it won't. But I'm excited about it.
So tell us about it. How'd you find it?
I found it. So one of the big things that we've talked about as part of the community, right, is focusing on the relationship with the person, or the conversation you're having with the person, not that specific deal. And so once I started taking that approach, I was calling several agents in the Corpus area. I would call whatever list number was on the listing on Zillow, and call them and just start talking to them, tell them what I'm looking for, and then eventually it's talking about the property. This property was off market, but I was talking to this listing agent about what I'm looking for, and he said, yeah, okay, well, I think the house you're talking about, or this house that's listed, is probably not for you, but I got lots of other options. Can I start sending them to you? I said, yeah, great, please. And that shift in how I approach those conversations directly led to this opportunity. And they sent me probably 20 to 30 houses over the next week or two. I'd run them. And
were they his listings?
No. So just wholesalers, different listings, and so just different connections. Yeah, so that was a good connection to make. So that's how we found it, and ran the numbers, and I said, okay, well, a $60,000 house is probably pretty ugly, right? And the pictures looked okay, and so we go check it out. Give me a call, and because he was there in Corpus, and I said, if you can call and send me pictures, great. And we went back and forth, and it was like, these are mostly cosmetic. There's not holes in the ceiling. You can't see the dirt from the floor. It's cosmetic, and we can do this. So okay, well, let's give it a shot. So yeah, excited. So the plan is you bought it for $60, and you got a hard money loan, private financing. Yeah.
Tell us, and that was another community member who got you the loan.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. For people who are interested in investing and buying real estate, because the first 2 properties you bought were not hard money.
Right.
So tell us kind of the terms of the hard money loan.
Yeah, so it's basically just a short-term loan. I think at 11.5%, or maybe it's 11.4%. So
how long? 12 months?
Yeah, but I'll be able to refinance it in should be about a month and a half to 2 months. And so we've confirmed there's there is a seasoning requirement, meaning you have to hold the loan for a certain amount of time before they will let you refinance. But because it's with the same institution, they're allowing me to refinance as soon as I'm ready. So we'll do a refi after that and do a traditional 20% down loan. And so, that's the plan. So I actually funded the...
How long do you have that? Do you have 12 months?
Yes.
Okay.
Max, yeah.
All right. The further you get into this, you're going to learn that...
2 months turns into 6 months pretty quick.
Well, lenders say a lot of things.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah, I remember we've talked on our calls several times.
They mean well. A lot is out of the originator's hands, or the loan officer's hands.
Right.
But just things change.
In terms of
Everything.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Everything change.
Yeah.
Has the ability to change.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I'm certain that's going to be a lesson I learn at some point. And
I hope not.
yeah, okay. I hope so too. Yeah.
All right. So 12-month term, 11.5% interest.
Yep.
And then they're funding the rehab as well.
Yeah.
Well, what was the loan to cost on that? Like, what percentage do you have to put down of purchase price and rehab?
I did 15% of purchase price plus the rehab.
So, got it.
Sorry. 15% of purchase price plus closing costs, obviously, plus the what do we call it? I texted you about it the other day. The
reserve.
The reserve account. Yeah, so I'd put that down as well. But the loan or the rehab is financed.
And so, what was cash close for you?
31.
31.
Yeah.
How much of that was closing costs?
6.5.
Okay.
So the 15% down plus the other part was $8,000 of the wholesaler fees. So that part
was not financed.
Correct. Yeah. So that was the other big one. So
yeah, go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So it wasn't financed. So basically, you got a loan as the purchase price of $152.
So you're doing
152
30 plus, yeah.
152 plus 15 is how the lender looked at it. Because they wouldn't base the loan off 60, right?
Were you getting 152?
Sorry, 52.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
All right. So, more than you expected.
Yeah.
Right. That's one example of I was talking about the things change with the lenders.
Right.
What were you expecting to put down?
I don't remember now. I probably would have expected about 20 with, 20% down plus closing costs. I probably would have expected, but the reserve account was the biggest factor in that. But having you there to answer that question was helpful because that was the first time I saw that number and called the lender about it and he explained what it was. It's okay. I trust your answer, but I'm going to verify it now. And so talk to you about it a little bit.
That is what it is, right?
Yeah.
You're asking for mortgage payment reserves.
Yeah. Yep. So when we do the refi, it all goes back, and it's refunded to you basically. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. And so we have tenants in there now.
Right.
And they're on month to month.
Yep.
Did you already give notice?
No. It should fund today, and then at the title company will be the keys and also the contact information for the tenants.
But your plan is to give notice?
Yeah.
So that you can begin the work?
Yep.
And then you have estimates on the work to be done? You got contractors out there and everything?
Yeah. We estimating about 10 to 12 worth of work. I'm planning on 15 just because that's how these things go. So, that's the scope of work.
And how is the lender going to give you funds?
I'm not sure. That's what I assume we'll find out today. So that's one of the next steps that I guess we'll learn.
Who's the company?
The lender?
Yeah.
Merchant Mortgage.
Merchant Mortgage.
Yeah.
Typically the way that it works is you give them a scope of work and everything.
Yeah.
And it's all line itemed out, scope of work and the cost of each.
Yeah.
Typically with hard money lenders, I don't know how it works with these people, but typically the way it works is you'll complete the work.
Mm-hmm.
So, say there's 8 line items on the scope of work. If you complete, 1 through 3, you'll let lender know. They'll send an inspector out there to verify that those line items have been done. They'll provide a report back to the hard money lender, and then hard money lender will wire you the funds from line item 1 through 3.
Interesting.
And so typically they'll reimburse you for the work you've completed.
Interesting. Okay. Good to know.
Do you have extra cash to start the work if needed?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm very conservative in that regard. I have an emergency fund for my emergency funds type. So but anyway.
Cool. Well, that's typically how it works.
Good to know. Yeah.
Some lenders are faster than others in terms of scheduling, getting an inspector out there.
Right.
How long do you expect this project to take, the rehab portion?
We're expecting 2 to 3 weeks. I'm hoping it goes that well because it's pretty cosmetic in nature. So paint floors, bathroom, Gonna do some touch-ups in the kitchen, painting cabinets, things like that, but not ripping it all out. And then a little work to the outside.
Pier and beam?
Yeah.
All Corpus pretty much?
No. Probably over half, but not all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then so what are you doing in the bathrooms? New shower?
Oh yeah, new shower. The tub had a kind of little crack in it. Putting a new vanity in. The toilet looks to be in good shape, so I'll leave that there. But
Cool.
yeah.
All right, so $15K put into it, and then you're gonna get it rented out at that point.
Mm-hmm.
How are you gonna do that? You have a lease listing agent there?
No. I would like to, or I'm exploring the idea of doing Section 8, but just learning more about how that process works. And I've reached out to the Housing Authority in Corpus, and they've kind of given me some good resources. So just looking more into that. But I don't have a listing agent. But
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you still might need one to find even Section 8 tenants, unless the Housing Authority is gonna refer people to you.
Well, they did say they have a large backlog of applicants. So I don't know if that, if I submit my application to them, do they say, okay, cool, we have a large backlog, let's make the connection? How does that part typically work? Do you know?
I don't.
Yeah.
Typically, the way that it works with us, I've never been our lease listing agent, but we just had 3 Section 8 tenants move into one of our fourplex.
Okay.
We had to get it inspected and
Right.
approved and everything, but we opened it up for Section 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's places you can post it. During our partner on the deal, she posted it in these certain places to get Section 8 tenants.
Yeah.
And so we had to do some sort of marketing to bring them. And then also, if it was listed on the MLS, you could, let them know that you do accept Section 8.
Yeah.
But the Housing Authority did not provide us the tenants.
Okay.
Here-
You might reach out
here
to
at
Doreen
least.
then. Yeah.
She's here right now. You can go talk to her after.
I very well might. Yeah.
But it's good though, and I mean, the inspection process wasn't too bad, and we're getting higher rent than we would otherwise, I believe.
Yeah.
And like you were talking about with, I think there's a stigma with Section 8 tenants and stuff, but
Right.
we've got good tenants. We did, vet them and have them apply and verify who they are and everything. And we're going to be on top of the management, right? Inspecting the properties and things like that. And so I don't think it's a bad thing like other people kind of make it seem.
Yeah. Certainly there's a stigma there, but you're right. Do thorough screening process, and but people need homes, so yeah.
All right. So are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I was nervous yesterday. Just the morning leading up to it, but it's an investment. So
And
yeah, look forward to it.
So assuming all goes well with the plan, what do you think cash flow is going to look like there?
300 to 350 is what I'm calculating.
A month?
Yeah.
Taxes, insurance, everything.
Maintenance, all the.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that puts you about, 1/6 of the way there?
A little less than that, yeah. Yeah.
And then, so get this one stabilized, get through the refi, and then look at buying the next one? Or have you thought about that aspect?
Yes. Kind of like I said earlier, let's do it, see how it goes. And yes, if it goes as I've calculated it will, go to the next one. If it doesn't, take the lessons learned and say, okay, what do I need to change in the approach on the next one? But I'm ready to get aggressive this year.
Well, good. We got 6 months left,
Well, we have 12 months left, right? Because it's June. By next May is my.
I got it.
Yeah. So that's my goal.
That's your 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not this calendar year, but from June till next May.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Cool. What have you learned so far being part of the community?
How long do you have? Stop me if I go too long. I mean, relationships are huge. And I should have known that before, because like at my work, relationships are huge there too. And it's like, okay, lots of people are smart and good engineers, but who has the relationships and the connections to just help get questions answered when we inevitably have them? And so relationships has been a big one. Robert out of San Antonio was part of the community. He's connected me with a foundation expert, an attorney, because I'm having to start looking at that option. Kind of helped brainstorm exit strategies if we decide to go there, and so that's been a huge resource. Like you said, Michael is the lender. I met him through the community. But just from a variety of perspectives, focusing on the relationship with the person that you're calling as opposed to the deal has been very transformative, in my opinion, for my progress. And I think it was maybe the second or third weekly call that we had, because we do weekly calls every Tuesday, and we all hop on. And earlier on, when there was not a lot of people in the community, we said, okay, Eric, show me a house you're looking at. Let's call them like you call them, and let's just talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, and so call, and from a real estate outsider's perspective, like me, I would always think that, well, when the two agents call each other, it's a dogfight, and it's what's the least I can get out of you, the seller, and vice versa, and it's just this kind of, oh, this is a piece of dump house, you can't sell it for this, and I kind of approached it like that. And I remember we got off the call, and y'all were like, okay, that was good, but transform the way you're approaching this conversation, because focus on the person and not what you can get out of them. Just learn about them, tell them about yourself, and then it will turn into other opportunities. And then I think right after that, you said, okay, show me another deal you're looking at. And then you said, okay, now I'm going to call this listing agent. And then you called them. And all of a sudden, by the end of the call, she's giving you all these off-market properties, lands, storage units, all kinds of stuff. And it was like, okay, now I get it. And
Mm-hmm.
so shifting that perspective has been big for my progress. What else? I mean, we started the small group meetings. We kind of
That's awesome.
picked
I
a
didn't know
partner.
y'all did that.
Well, we maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago we said pick
Accountability.
a partner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I connected with Robert and Linnell from San Antonio, just mainly because they're out of San Antonio, and I started a 3-way text and was like, would you all be interested in forming a 3-person group? And they said, yeah, that'd be awesome. And so we have calls every Friday morning, just kind of talk about our progress, and we set weekly goals with each other. And so that's been huge, and we just bounce ideas off each other. It's 30 minutes to an hour, nothing huge, but that's been just as productive as the weekly calls that we have. And
Yeah.
we have a 3-way text conversation, and so yeah, that's been pretty productive too.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know y'all did that.
Yeah.
I know that, we encouraged everybody to connect with each other, but I didn't know y'all had structured weekly calls.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of said, how do we want to help each other? And it just kind of came together. So yeah, I think, as we continue to grow in the community and add more members, maybe somehow formalizing
That aspect.
Yeah, and making the right, you don't want to connect a super experienced person in Austin with somebody in Louisiana who's maybe they can't necessarily benefit from each other, but putting some thought into it, I think,
Small group engineering.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine that. Yeah.
No, keep going.
No, I was going to say, whenever I was thinking about who would I want to be my partner, and they just came into mind right away. And I was like, no reason you can't have 2 partners. And it's been really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, it's really important. The relationships that in real estate in general, and even if you weren't a part of the community, and everybody listening, you need to go out there and build relationships with people, make connections, and you're going to accomplish a lot more together.
Right.
And just like Robert helping you out with all the stuff in San Antonio, just that alone is extremely helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been, being a part of the community is, I'll call it a game changer in my success, or if nothing else, maybe gave me the confidence to get back in there and say, okay, now I have people that can answer my questions, because there's a lot to this. You get the closing form, and there's numbers on there, and even there's just so many steps in the process and a lot of factors to consider. So having people that you can ask, like I said, is kind of giving me the confidence to try it again. And to me, confidence is big. And we in high school, we had a basketball coach who would always say, believe you can or believe you can't, but either way, you're right. And I take that quote very seriously. From work, home life, I try to instill confidence in my kids, and it's all in your head. And we were playing dominoes a few weeks ago with my daughter, who's 7, and doesn't play very well, but she knows the concept. And she gets her hand, and she was like, "Oh, this isn't good." And I was like, "Nope, don't even tell yourself that. That's a good hand. You can make it a good hand." And just trying to help them to think positively and have the confidence, because, like I said, I'm a big believer in that, and I think that confidence and belief in yourself goes a long way. So.
Yeah, I'm too. Well, that's why I'm pushing you. That's why I said we got 6 months left to get you to. I'm calculating in my head like your goal is my goal. I'm like, all right, $350 a month. We got $1,650 more to get there.
Yep.
Like, what do we need to do over the next 6 months to hit 2K?
Yeah,
and you can.
Yeah, no, I agree, and major kudos to y'all, because the way the community is advertised, it's hey, you get access to Alex and Matt 24/7 and all these other things, and it's to me it's more than that, because it's not, hey, text me anytime, whatever, I'll respond. Multiple times y'all have been the one to initiate contact and text over the weekend. Hey, you working this weekend? Any deals you want me to help analyze? You making any calls? What can we help with? And it's been multiple times where y'all have reached out proactively to me or to multiple people. And so it's not just, we're here if you need us. It's, we're alongside you, and we're going to reach out and we're going to pull you along to make sure that we all get there. Yeah. So that's been awesome and very helpful, because everybody can say, I have this open door policy or whatever, but are you truly inviting those people in? And y'all are, and that's been huge for me. So
we appreciate you, man. Thank you for believing in us and the entrepreneur way. And it's important, that's what we really care about, is being there for you in that way and helping you accomplish your goals. We know that if you accomplish your goals and we work together in some sort of way, we're all going to grow and experience the benefits of it. Community is not our goal is not to make $1,000 a year.
Right.
It's probably not worth our time if we really look at other things that we could be doing to pay us a lot more.
Right.
The goal is just to get around good people, help you accomplish your goals. We want to grow with you, and just hearing you go through this and moving on to this next project is really exciting.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it, and I could go on and on about the community and all the ways I've enjoyed it, but it's just great people that are involved and continue to grow.
Well, what advice do you have for people watching who maybe are where you were at a year ago, buying your first 2 properties, or maybe they bought a property and they're experiencing what you have over the last year? What's your advice for new real estate investors?
I would say don't be scared to make a mistake. It's because there's a lot to it, and you will make mistakes. Like you said, you've yourself have made mistakes recently.
We make mistakes all the time.
Yeah, right. Don't be scared to do that. If you can join a community like this, the dividends that it pays off it's you can't even calculate it, because I know for me, if I would have been a part of this community a year ago, not that it existed, but that would have prevented me from these 2 deals in San Antonio without a doubt, because I would have showed up to our weekly call and said, hey, I'm looking at this deal, and you said, okay, let's run the numbers, show me what you're doing. And I'd have run them, and you just said, purchase price is pretty high, or we would have helped get there together, and I would have had all that money back in my pocket, or had it into a cash flow producing asset. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Join the community. I mean, if you're serious about it, or even like me, to where like I'm serious about it, but I'm not necessarily looking to get out of my job. I love my job, but I've got maybe 8 to 10 hours a week to spend on real estate with all my other commitments and family and things like that. So I have to maximize the efficiency of those 10 hours. And if I'm doing it on my own and just aimed nowhere, that doesn't end well. But when we can focus our efforts and focus that time, that'll go a lot further than just trying to get there on your own. So
that's right.
Join the community.
And the basketball quote. Tell the people the basketball quote one more time.
Shout out to Coach Wenzel from Corpus Christi. Believe you can or believe you can't, but either way, you're right.
One more time. Believe you can.
Believe you can or believe you can't, but either way, you're right.
That's right, man.
Yep.
Well, shout out Coach Wenzel.
Yep, that's right.
Eric Busker, thank you for joining today. How can people get in touch with you if they have any questions or want to connect with you?
Glad you mentioned that. So I have an Instagram. I don't have a single post on Instagram. I want to take a picture of us. Let's do my first post.
All right, come on.
I can start it. So get a little following. It's at Eric.Busker, really creative there. But also feel free to text me, 512-810-1877. If you have any questions about the community, not even the community, just general real estate questions, happy to talk. I'm not necessarily saying I might have the best advice, but I'm happy to talk about it and learn from each other and help however I can.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.